everybody knows that Ananthakrishnan is a money launderer for the LTTE. So on one hand you have Dawood, ISI, China, LTTE. I mean, is this country for us or for all these people? I don't know. So he's now caught on that. It's only a matter of time. And then 24th August, when my case comes, Chidambaram. And then I found to my utter surprise that Unitech, which sold its license to Telenor, actually 20% of its shares is owned by Sonia Gandhi's son-in-law, Vadra. So Mr. Vadra will go first, and then he will be in the reception party for his mother-in-law when the time comes. Of course, these are going on. The court, I must say, people told me, why are you doing all this? Nothing will happen. This is the general public sentiment. But everything has happened suddenly. Now they say it is because Mr. Kapadia has become Chief Justice. That's why it's happening. It's true, Mr. Kapadia is a very upright, honest man. Compared to his previous predecessor, he is a gem. But this is the whole thing about struggle. Suddenly something changes. When I was fighting the emergency, people will say, what are you doing fighting the emergency? Settle down at Harvard, have a good time, forget about all this. I'd come to America, I'd escaped to America, and I was campaigning here. People said, never go, she's very strong, Indira Gandhi. She's in complete control, there's no protest, everything is silent. And then one day, Indira Gandhi declares an election, and she loses the election herself. Her own constituency she loses. Now, how could I have foreseen that? Nobody could have foreseen that. Even if I had foreseen that and I told people, oh, emergency will go because Indira Gandhi will call an election and she will lose the election, people would have thought I was mad to think like this and I'm living in a fool's paradise. So I am saying to you, in the struggle, only a part of your efforts make the final result. The final result comes because some event takes place. And here the new Chief Justice came and everything changed. The judges have become extremely, they've become extremely conscious of this danger that the country faces. When I pointed out these national security angles, they were shocked and they immediately ordered the CBI to make the necessary investigation. And I must say that they have done things which had never happened before. They have said to the CBI, you are not to listen to the government of India, you only listen to us, and we will hear Mr. Swamy on what he has to say, and then we will ask you and then direct you what is to be done. This is an extraordinary step, that the CBI is no more to listen to the government of India, is no more under the thumb of the government of India, but under the court. So this process is on, and I think it will go to the very end. There are all kinds of attempts to put obstacles in me. There's a huge controversy that is now being created in my prescription for fighting terrorism. Those are all things which happen, it doesn't concern me. I think that this is a very important corruption case that we must bring to finality. We must ensure that everybody concerned must go to jail to set an example for the whole country that such a thing can happen in our democratic system. I must tell you, I have got 2 invitations from 2 governments to come and help them clean up corruption. One is from the government of Pakistan, when the ambassador said, can you come for 1 week and clean up? I said, I can come for 1 week to clean up Pakistan, but not corruption in Pakistan. Second was Greece. Greece also, certain influential members talked to me. So this kind of thing, India's reputation has suddenly gone up because its democratic institutions are functioning as nowhere else in the world, leaving aside certain developed democratic countries, and bringing to book the most very important, highly placed people and sending them to jail. Today, Tihar jail is no more called Tihar jail, it's called Club Tihar. because it's such a high, there are so many CEOs there, and they have to share 4 to a bathroom, and of course the mosquitoes give them as much trouble as they give all of us. So they're living a very hard life, and it's the hottest part of Delhi today, the hottest season. So they are going through hell. Jail means hell, and they're all going through that. This has set a tone, but there is a lot of work to be done. I would say, now that you've understood how corruption is generated, let me go to the second point. Why is it bad? What is wrong if a few ministers, to expedite a decision, take a little money? Well, it doesn't quite end that way. You see, when this money comes, first of all, you are sub-optimizing. Sub-optimizing means that you are not getting the most meritorious decisions made. If you're not getting the most meritorious decisions made, then your resources are being misutilized, and you're not getting the highest rate of return for your resources. That's a real criminal act, because these are taxpayers' money. And who are the people who have money to give in cash to the minister? Generally criminals. And so the criminal element comes to the top, and they become new barons and new heroes, because they have so much money to throw around. Political parties then start getting money from them, then they become soft on them, they are not able to take action against them. So many of the big crimes, you see, because big people are involved, don't get investigated because of this. So this is the first impact, which is very bad for the country. Second is, this money cannot be put into building a factory, because then it becomes an asset to be observed by the income tax. They can ask you a question. So most of this money either goes abroad through the Hawala route, or it has to be utilized in India for consumption purposes, where it's very difficult to chase around people and find out where did you get this money to buy an air conditioner. So you find these people who become corrupt suddenly have fancy houses, they have air conditioner in every room, including the bathroom. You know, it's a luxury life. They have 5-6 cars, nothing short of Mercedes and Lexus and BMWs and so on. And most of the drunken driving in Delhi is now being done by BMW drivers. So somebody told me, if you ban BMW, then drinking will be reduced. Not true. But the fact is that this is the kind of public identification and anger at the people who are splurging money, wedding receptions, you know, the amount of gaudy spending that takes place. All these things are, what do? They change the investment priority in the country. Why? Because the rate of return of luxury goods industries goes up. Even when we had this economic crisis of the 2007-2009 period, we found that 5-star hotels were always full. We found that first-class travel in aircrafts always full, because these are black money people. Even real estate, which is largely run on black money, didn't suffer, whereas it suffered in other countries. So, therefore, this investment priorities get lopsided. People stop, investors say, why should I spend on producing cloth for the ordinary man, or artifacts for the common man? I must now go and invest in luxury goods industry. Now, I estimated by using sophisticated input-output techniques and matrix algebra that in India, 70% of our investment goes directly or indirectly to sustain luxury goods industry in our country. That's not acceptable for us. Third thing is that this cash, because now the government has legitimized forward trading in food items, what they are doing with this cash is they are going to the farmer and giving him in cash and saying, don't bring it to the market. Give us your rice, give us your wheat, give us your vegetables, give us your milk, give us the sugar cane that you have, and then they stock it When they stock it, prices shoot up, inflation shoots up. Who does that inflation affect? It affects the common man. And then after that it reached sky high, they open the godowns and these materials come to the market and the prices come down. So there's huge profiteering going on. Our country, GDP is supposed to be growing at 9% per year. How is it that inflation is growing at 16% per year? Because in economics we teach that when supply expands, prices come down. But here, India has turned economics upside down. Supply is also increasing, prices also increasing at the same time. So this is the third effect. The fourth effect is something again the brain of Mr. Chidambaram has gone to play. One of the key politicians complained to Chidambaram that these Swiss people are so terrible that not only they take our money, but instead of giving us interest on our account, they charge a 2% service charge. So every year we are bleeding to a 2% service charge. Imagine if our accounts, if our total amount of money in Swiss banks and other places is $1.5 trillion as some estimates are, and you put 2% on that, how much these countries are benefiting. So therefore Mr. Chidambaram came up with a wonderful idea that I'll create a new financial derivative, and that derivative will be called a participatory note. What is the participatory note? You take your rupees, give it to a Hawala man, and the Hawala man will have it sent to you in Europe. You take the dollars that you get in Europe, go to Morgan Stanley or go to, there's a famous investment company, American one, Fidelity Investments, and put it on their counter and say, give me a participatory note. Only country in the world which has participatory note is India. And this is how our brains are being, misused to create all these nefarious instruments. So you put it there, he'll give you a piece of paper on which only the amount will be written. And you take that and bring it to the country, give a photocopy to the Reserve Bank, and then, because it's illegal, and then you go to the mutual funds and say, please invest this in the stock market. Now he invests in the stock market. Many such people also bring other participatory notes and they invest, and the stock market booms. And today our stock market has become completely rigged. The middle classes are losing money heavily. But these people who come with participatory notes, they see the stock market going up and then they're bringing it down. They sell off and bring it down. There was only one problem which also Mr. Chidambaram corrected. Namely that if you sell at the height, then you have to pay 25% capital gains tax. So he suggested that if you come via Mauritius and you create a $1 company, and that company invests in the stock market, then because Mauritius is a poor country and we want to help it, no capital gains tax for that $1 company. So billions of dollars are coming, $1 billion going out. $61 billion came at one stage, and all this money is black money going out, round tripping via Mauritius and coming to India and rigging the stock market completely. So this is another damage it is doing. And the law has been so designed now that SEBI, which is called Security Exchange Bureau of India, like the SEC here, it has been barred from asking any questions about participatory notes. Because if you were, as an ordinary person, go and buy a share, they'll ask you, where do you get the money from? Where's the check? What a photocopy? All this. But participatory note, no question asked. Tarapore committee said, abolish this. Reserve Bank governor says, no, this is very, very dangerous. National Security Advisor says, terrorists are using this participatory notes to collect money from the stock market and using it for blowing up Bombay. So all this, but still nobody wants to touch the participatory loan. This is again because of corruption. And finally, let me tell you, the national security is now thoroughly compromised. After all, when you get black money, you send it abroad, you send it through these Hawala people. Who are these Hawala people? They all have to keep a lot of foreign powers happy. If you want to send by Hawala to Dubai, then you have to keep Pakistan happy. Pakistan knows who has got our bank account, who has got foreign bank accounts. Other intelligence agencies also know who has got foreign bank accounts. They can blackmail your leaders that we will expose you if you don't do this. This happened in this oil for food program of Saddam Hussein's matter also. Then you saw how Etisalat and Telenor have entered into our country when the Home Ministry advisory says don't let them come in any capacity anywhere. So national security is being compromised. Terrorists are using these facilities. All kinds of things are happening. Your economy is in the effect of corruption is enormous. And therefore, don't ever think it's only between a politician and some businessman and the politician becoming rich. After all, he has to fight an election, so he has to earn some money. No, 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 no. It is multi-dimensional effect on the economy. And if there's one problem which should receive our primary interest, it is this. Look at the government, instead of being supportive, how much they are opposing. The German government once found out that their officials were having illegal accounts in Liechtenstein. So they asked the Liechtenstein government to give us these accounts. Liechtenstein government said, no, we asked a secret account, our whole business depends on it, we will not do that. So what did the German government do? They bribed the senior most official of the bank and got a CD of all the accounts of everybody who's got a numbered account. And then they downloaded it and divided it up into several countries. There are 24 countries whose officials had, whose ministers had illegal bank account in Liechtenstein. Then Germany wrote a letter to all the 24 countries, heads of all 24 countries, that we have got your national's bank account. If you want them, we are ready to send it to you. 23 countries immediately wrote back, please send it to us. One country said, kept quiet. And you can guess which that country is. India did not reply. 3 reminders from Germany, no reply. Then some of us came to know about it. So we went to court. Supreme Court gave a direction. Go get those names. Well, then Mr. Manmohan Singh agreed and he sent somebody, got the names. Now Supreme Court says, give us the names. They say, no, it's national understanding between countries, double taxation. But the Supreme Court said, this is not you and Liechtenstein. The German government got it by bribery and it has become now a common knowledge. So give it to us. Till date, the government of India has not given those 16 names who are there in the Liechtenstein bank accounts to the Supreme Court. In disgust, the Supreme Court has appointed a special investigating team headed by a former retired judge called Jeevan Reddy. And before they could even start working, the government has gone in appeal. Please reconsider this judgment. Of course, the names will come out. And I can tell you some really big names are in it. So here is a situation that black money of this country, which can finance your entire economic development of invest in infrastructure and your universities, building your, modernizing your university, the government is reluctant to get the material. So what are we to do if this is the situation? We can catch people. It's not that easy in India. We have a bad record. On 7th of January 2008, there was a press conference in Hyderabad addressed by Ramalinga Raju of Satyam. saying, I have sinned, I have manipulated the accounts, I'm willing to suffer any punishment. Around the same time, I think a day before, in New York there was another press conference addressed by Bernard Madoff. He said, I have sinned, I have done Ponzi scheme, deprived people of their pension funds. I am ready to face any punishment. In 6 months' time, Bernard Madoff was convicted of 150 years prison term. And he's in jail now. And Ramalinga Raju is in air-conditioned hospital, lying, enjoying life. Nothing has happened to him so far. This is the problem. How do we correct it? I can show to you that it doesn't matter if you have a low probability of catching people. But when you catch them, you will find, and you throw the book at them, then it becomes an interest of every individual not to be corrupt. If I can just briefly show you, I think for those of you who have done a little statistics, very simple statistics. If B is bribe and D is the penalty, D is the penalty, D is the penalty, this is penalty. I'm taking it in monetary terms just now, bribe. And the probability of you being caught and made to pay a penalty is P. Therefore, the probability of not being caught and to enjoy your bribe is 1 minus P. And therefore, expected value is 1 minus P times B plus P times D. And D is negative, so I'll put it as 1 minus P times B plus, minus P absolute value of D. And if I say D, the penalty is some lambda times the bribe, and I take lambda to be, say, 99 times, then I can show, I don't want to further involve with it, but you just replace, for D you put lambda B, and you can show that if lambda is 99, then even if the probability is as low as 0.01, the expected value will be negative. So rational human beings on their own will not engage in corruption if they think that the on balance of being caught and not caught, I will lose money. And if that happens, he will automatically on his own become like that. You see, the United States works on that principle. The United States works on that principle. Once Martha Stewart, she told a friend that I went to some party and I heard somebody selling some shares, you sell it. She told her stockbroker. They caught her and sent her to 6 months or 5 months in jail, in prison, like any other prisoner. They put her in. I know, what had she done that she's a celebrity and she's a great, I think cooking was her specialty or something. She was on TV all the time. And you put her in like this. They said, yes, if we catch, then we throw the book. So Madoff, 150 years. Then Enron, they took that Skilling, who was a Harvard business MBA, top executive, every president would have dinner with him. They put him in a handcuff and took him. So therefore, that is one way of doing it. Of course, the Chinese now are executing their people. But I think as far as China is concerned, if you fall foul of the Communist Party, then you are executed. And China's Prevention of Corruption Act does not apply to the President, Prime Minister, Ministers, General Secretary of the party and all. It only applies to deputy mayors and lower levels. And that too, on those who fall foul of the Communist Party, they are executed. So that's not enough. I don't think you need to go that far to execute people to order to create a deterrent. But a deterrent where you catch somebody, then you must confiscate his all property. You must take away everything he has. Then only you will be creating a disincentive for corruption. That's the short run thing. Anna Hazare has produced a bill which the government has now rejected. There is only one item in that bill of Anna Hazare, proposed bill of Anna Hazare, which I very strongly recommend that any future government should implement. And that is called independent prosecutor. That independent prosecutor is there in America. So when Clinton got stuck on that Monica Lewinsky, there's a man called Ken Starr who was appointed as independent prosecutor. When President Nixon got stuck on that Watergate, there was an independent prosecutor. Hong Kong, which was considered the most corrupt Asian nation, appointed an independent prosecutor, and within 10 years became the cleanest Asian country as judged by the index of the Transparency International. So this is something we need, because today, if I want any investigation, CBI will go and ask the Home Minister, or they ask the Prime Minister, it's literally under the Prime Minister. So it is under the influence of the government, and if the government says, no, don't do anything, they won't do anything. We don't want that. We want somebody who is independent, who can directly order the CBI, go and find out about this. I thought the CVC could be one such person, but the CVC is totally devoid of powers. Of course, they tried to bring in a corrupt man and put him there who would look after the interests of the corrupt people, but the Supreme Court struck his name down. And I think that this is something that needs to be done. But there is a long-term solution which we must think, and with that I will conclude. You see, after all, why do people want to be corrupt? Well, leave aside the fact that you are incompetent, now you can't get anything on merit and so on. But generally speaking, when a society decides to value wealth as above everything else, that society, greed will come. And once greed comes, then corruption is inevitable. The United States today has suffered because of the greed which was translated in terms of all these new derivatives they produced, and how these investment banks were able to buy mortgages from banks, and ultimately the subprime loan came into existence, and ultimately one little crisis has wrecked their economy. Also, let us understand that even if you have lots of money, you are not going to be happy. If that was so, then money will make you happy. Then why is it that our Swamiji's ashrams are all full of foreigners who are so rich? Go and see Sri Ravi Shankar's ashram. So many foreigners there. They are coming to say, tell me what is mental peace. Satya Sai Baba, when he was there, foreigners used to be there all the time. And they used to ask him simple question, and he used to give a simple answer. They used to be satisfied. I remember one American woman, very rich American woman, who asked him, Babaji, I want peace. So he said, you want peace? Then get rid of I, that is your ego. Do want, which is your desire, and you will be left with peace. And she was so mighty happy. I find this with Swami Dayanand Saraswati, Baba Ramdev, so many. I mean, this country, the attraction for Swamiji is so much that even I, who's not a Swamiji, they see my name in the telephone directory, they'll telephone, do you give lessons in Gita? I can make more money that way than being a Harvard professor, I can tell you that. Recently, a very rich Hollywood actress called Julia Roberts went to India, and she said, oh, these people are poor and still so happy, I want to know what the truth is. So she was taken to a Swamiji, and he explained Bhagavad Gita to her, and she came back and she became a Hindu, she made her husband Hindu, she made her children Hindu. Here, Stephen Jobs, he has not declared it, but he went to Varanasi and accepted the Hindu way of life. So many rich people in this country, they have also taken to our yoga. There are so many things. Yoga is supposed to give mental peace. They've taken to that. So, despite all this prosperity in this society, people don't seem to be happy. And this struck me first time when I came as a student long years ago to Harvard to get my PhD. And my classmate, an American, asked me, how did you Indian people accept Mahatma Gandhi as your leader? So I said, why not? You mean in America you will not accept him? He said, in America if he comes, we'll put him in jail for indecent exposure. That made me think, Yes, he's right. Mahatma Gandhi had only one piece of loincloth, and these millions of people going after him. What is the secret? So I went back to reading, and I found that there was a debate between Rishi Bhrigu and Rishi Bhardwaj. And both discuss how to structure society so it becomes a happy, stable society. And Bhrigu says the only way happiness can come in a society if the four sources of power are, decentralized. That is, no one person has more than one source of power. So Bharadwaj says, what are those four sources of power? He says, knowledge, weapons, wealth, land. So naturally, he said that these four should be separated. Those who specialize in knowledge cannot have weapons.